In this video, we're going to explore the noises, the sounds, and the music of arguably the Caribbean's loudest city, and there's no better place to start than a colmado. And later, we're going to speak to illustrators, researchers, and musicians about the noises and sounds of this incredible country. But first, let's take a look at this colmado. And look who I have here, who's even written a song about colmados.
Yeah.
So first of all, you have to explain to me what a colmado is.
Welcome to a true colmadón, donde se junta el barrio, la gente ofrece música, precios mejores que un bar o una discoteca. Desde mi infancia comprendí el rol que tiene el colmado para la familia dominicana. El colmado es el lugar al que la familia pide alimentos y además lo puede pagar después, porque desarrolla una amistad. Entonces se convierte en un centro muy importante cultural.
Dicen que la República Dominicana es muy
ruidosa.
Yeah!
Sí.
Ruidosa.
We talk very loud porque somos pequeños pero valientes. Tenemos un corazón grande, entonces queremos que se nos escuche.
¿Tienes un sonido favorito en este país?
Sin duda la tambora.
El tacatucutum, catacatututum.
We're doing a group interview asking people for their favorite sound, their favorite Dominican sounds.
Bueno, el mío, cuando se va la luz y cuando llega, está el famoso.
Mi sonido dominicano favorito es que por aquí pasa una guagua.
Sí, ese de las bocinas de la guagua.
De guaguita platanera.
Por muchos neighborhoods.
I love that noise. You have heard?
It's like iconic.
Que suena y dice que
Compramos todo lo que sea viejo, compramos mujeres viejas, compramos...
la nevera vieja, el colchón viejo, y pasa por como tantos lugares y cada vez que yo lo escucho digo que en mi infancia volví.
En merengue hay un grupo que se llama Los Hermanos Rosario y ellos inventaron una forma de tocar la tambora que se llama alomaco. Y a mí me gusta porque es distintivo y tú siempre sabes cuando una canción de Los Hermanos Rosario y es un merengue de ellos. Dominicano.
El silencio.
Eso no es dominicano.
Como el sonido que hace la gente cuando le ponen su canción favorita de antes. Como critico. Yo tengo una mala palabra favorita.
Me gusta cuando el dominicano dice ¡el diablo!
Que mi sonido favorito también es una mala palabra. Es una mala palabra compuesta. Está compuesta por dos malas palabras. La vamos a poner aquí escrita porque no la puedo decir porque me van a censurar. Mentira, es mamagüevo.
Mi sonido favorito formado por la realidad de que todos respondemos a ese sonido, no importa quién sea, y es...
Adelante, puede pasar. Entonces queremos que se nos escuche. Nos gusta hablar alto, bailar y que todo el mundo nos vea, llamar la atención donde quiera que estamos.
Y con tu música, ¿cuáles géneros tocan?
Pasamos por fusión, merengue, bachata, rock, pop. Hemos explorado muchos ritmos y mucha fusión de ellos.
¿Sí? ¿Y por qué no trabajas con un género?
Soy muy dominicano. Los dominicanos somos lo que se le llama frecos, atrevidos. No nos gusta quedarnos quietos, no nos gusta que se nos defina por una sola cosa.
¿Y hay un género que es el más significado para ti?
El merengue, sin duda.
¿Sí? ¿Cuál tipo de merengue?
El merengue pambiche o apambichao, que es el merengue puro, el primero.
¿Puedes mostrarnos la diferencia entre los merengues o las merengues?
Sí, claro que sí. El merengue que se le llama derecho es el que se conoce como el toque de tambora con tucutucutum, tucutucutum. Ese es el más popular. El apambichao o el pambiche es un toque más lento y más complejo. Es el que más me gusta porque tiene una cadencia diferente, se baila con más sensualidad y los dominicanos somos muy sensuales, digamos.
I would like to test that. What happens?
Well, it'd be a good name for your album, Horny.
Horny merengue.
¿Cómo describes la ciudad de Santo Domingo como una idea?
Como una idea. Para mí Santo Domingo es una morena insolente, inteligente, que empieza a recuperar la ilusión, empieza otra vez a integrarse al baile y dejó de alisarse el pelo.
Perfecto. Gracias.
Gracias a ti.
That is what Denver sounds like.
Well, we are a design studio, a branding studio that started as a t-shirt brand in 2004. We work with many brands locally and internationally, brands as Coca-Cola or Red Bull, but also very Dominican brands as Banco Popular and Cerveza Presidente have worked with us for different projects.
What's changed about being a creative director in the past couple of decades? Is it easier or harder?
I think it's way harder, even though you have more tools. As people have all these tools and can make their own content, they are not as easily amazed by the stuff brands do as it used to be like 15, 20 years ago. So you need to work harder.
Okay. I was living in New York and would come across a lot of Dominicans. The Dominican Republic is a really significant country, massive population, around 12 million people, and a really big industry here. But I don't think a lot of people outside of the island, outside of the country, actually know about it. What can you tell us about what it's like to do business and a creative business in the Dominican Republic that might be a little bit different from other places?
This is a culture that is so unique. We have like new words every week, and it's so on a different level as corporate brands usually can allow themselves to speak to. That is a rare opportunity when you can like become something very meaningful to a brand. So
why do you think there's so much inventiveness around words here?
I don't even know why Dominicans are like that, but it's like we have this island vibe, this taking life not so seriously. I think we do that with everything, and we do that with words, and we do that with the way we communicate. So I think it's mainly that attitude that we are big jokesters, and probably as a way to manage the difficult things that are in a country like ours.
Is the Dominican Republic the noisiest country in the Caribbean?
Well, I have been to a couple of them. I have been around like 4 islands around here, and it has been the noisiest I know, at least. It is very noisy. We say that if we put 2 Dominicans or 3 Dominicans together in a big place, you can hear them from across the place, because I don't know, we tend to talk loud, we tend to laugh loud, and there is a lot of music coming out of everywhere. That is something that I don't know, why can't we just listen to music at a decent volume? Yeah. We want to share it with everybody.
Well, why do you think? So I know there's a stereotype that Dominicans speak in a very loud way. Why do you think they speak in a loud way?
I have no idea. I have a problem with understanding it too, because it's usually not necessary. But I think it's I don't know. It's part of the warmth of the country. I think, I don't know. We're boiling like that.
Yeah. It was funny for me because the Dominican accent for me is very staccato, like a drill.
Yeah, it's
in the street.
It's percutive.
Exactly.
Change. We have like a falsetto for talking about somebody that said something, like and then this guy told me, and you change it. Like people do that all the time. I don't know. We have like this need to come up with the sound effects and sound effects too. Like people even el tipo like we do it all the time. I don't know. It's we are. I don't know. We're musical. It's kind of musical. It's percutive.
Yeah, I love it. Except when I was trying to get some work done this morning, and I could hear the entire street for 4 hours. I'm like, oh my god, this is almost like New York, but cooler, and better weather today. Let's have a look at some of the illustrations that you did. So from what I understand, you publish drawings 6 days a week in a local newspaper, and we're going to take a look at some of the drawings that have something to do with the sounds and the music of this incredible place. How did you get involved with that?
After this very famous illustrator called Harold Priego passed away. One of his sons took the space and drew the cartoon for 3 years, and then they were looking for somebody to draw that cartoon. Proposed me to do it, but in the process the newspaper decided to make a proper ending to that strip and offered me the opportunity to come up with a new vignette. So I've been doing it since 2017 in Diario Libre.
How do you have enough ideas?
Well, basically you don't have the luxury not to come up with ideas, so it's you need to get to work and make it happen.
Do you or have you ever experienced mental blocks?
Of course, I have it all the time.
And what do you do?
I lean myself a lot into mind maps. I love writing senselessly a lot of words around concepts, and usually that helps me get to interesting places. Now you can also brainstorm with ChatGPT, and I also try to go to talk to somebody that has nothing to do with this, like go to a colmado and start talking to someone about this subject. And around one of those exercises, usually stuff starts coming up. All the bars can stay up late selling alcohol, but this year they have a particular fight against loud music coming out from businesses. So it's like there's a contradiction there. They started saying you can stay up late and party, but now police is taking sound equipment from businesses. Some people actually abuse from their rights to have their music in public and have these ridiculous sound systems out on the street and bothering people that are sleeping. There's this police guy saying, okay, you need to turn that down, but first can you play Ola Perdida? I want to hear how it sounds on your sound system. And Ola Perdida is this merengue typical song that has been very popular in the past few weeks.
And then this is very specific. What's this called?
Yeah, this is like usually they call it kitipo. Kitipo, it's like this sound system that is not something stock that comes like that you have to build it and with specifications from each client. Like I wanted to have 8 speakers and 2 basses and this and that. So this is the kind of sound that they are fighting out. Part of the reason they are fighting is because the noise is because they say it relates to the crime, because people stay partying and it promotes this crime environment. And here what is happening is that this speaker is saying shh, they haven't gotten all of us. They don't have all of us.
Okay.
And it's we're making a bit of fun of these speakers that are also criminals. What I wanted to show you is that I don't know if you've seen these coolers they do and turn it into a sound system. They do that. And now you cannot put more ice. This is just a bass, a subwoofer. And they transform these coolers into speakers. And imagine you are the neighbor across the street.
but honestly, what I love about it, this is an inventive country.
It is.
Super
It's
inventive.
crazy.
Oh my god!
Look at that. It's like a sculpture. One part of me is against it, but one part of me wants one.
Now we're going to hear about a place that all the travel YouTubers go to, and it's quite amazing because it's a very small place. A lot of music, especially Dembo, has come out of this area, as has a lot of crime. And it's quite amazing how increasingly globally well known this place is.
This is a drawing I did when I turned 42 last year, and as a joke, I was I got to the 42, and the 42, it was my age, but it's also this street in a neighborhood called El Capotillo. And the environment around there, the party doesn't stop. It's usually very dense, very drug-filled, very crime-filled. That's what the vibe that it gives, but a lot of people go there and party. Usually you need to go with somebody from there. It's a place that is like the hub of Dembow. It needs to work in the 42 for a Dembow to come up and break every other place around. So that's what I was referencing to in this video with the crazy dance that they do over there.
Ángel Dio es mi muchacho. Mi canción favorita es Ayo.
De lo mío. Well, this is a drawing I did to represent bachata. Bachata is like the second genre that went around the world from the Dominican Republic, and it's our blues. Usually when you hear a bachata that you like a lot, it hits you and people touch their chest and feel like something is hurting them. And I wanted to represent that feeling, and even the way they dance, that is very like with very careful steps, and some people even do a little dance on top of a bottle, like a rum or a beer bottle.
It's interesting hearing you describe what's happening in the Dominican Republic, because I travel a lot and I feel that a lot of people in the creative industries feel very much under pressure. Mm-hmm. Their countries are kind of scared places right now. Having said that, you're surrounded by countries that are not doing as well as this country. But I sense with the music, with the wordplay, with what I'm hearing from you, that creativity in this country is going well. There's like an explosion of it. Is this true?
I love that you say it, somebody that comes from outside, because that's how I've been feeling it. And right now I feel as it is more global, and it's so weird what is happening with the Dominican urban culture. Even here, people get surprised when you see somebody like Tokisha being invited to fashion events for Louis Vuitton or for Dolce & Gabbana and then Tom Ford, and I'm like, it's not only here, like this is caught in the attention of the world, and now you bring it up, so it makes me happy.
I love it. If you think about a young person who's doing some illustration, might even have a graffiti background, and they're trying to work out how to build a livelihood around it, how to turn it into a career where they can earn money for it in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice?
Well, yeah, I usually get that question, and what happened to me, I can only reference the path I followed, and I was in the middle of a generation, let's say, where I started uploading stuff on Instagram and the word influencer didn't exist. You didn't have all this pressure that people have now. But in the arts, and if you are like willing to do street art, for example, I'm like that there's no excuse for you not to start just putting stuff out there. Hear people complaining about they don't get opportunities, but if you want to make murals, that it's not about asking for opportunities. You just go out and get yourself up there. So I would just say get out there and do your stuff. Probably because you're gonna get stuck in what you can be doing instead of developing your talent, because that only happens when you do.
What is the one sound you most associate with the Dominican Republic?
Wow, one sound.
Or noises.
Loud laughter. People like laugh here like parrots, like ah! I love laughter with claps. Like that kind of big laughter. It's probably one of those sounds.
I'm at Linconazo, which is at the heart of Piantini, and for me this is the heart of Santo Domingo. Geographically, maybe spiritually. I don't want to make that claim on. I'm an outsider, but it's super interesting here. And there's a crew that runs this place that has been very kind to me. There are a lot of cars lined up coming through. So this is Flacco. Y para mí, el Linconazo es el corazón de Piantini y Piantini es el corazón de Santo Domingo. Y tú, para mí, eres el corazón del Linconazo.
Linconazo es un bar a puerta abierta, tenemos bebida y ponemos deporte. Si viene mucha gente aquí a compartir.
¿Cuáles son tus géneros de música favoritas?
La música más favorita es la salsa, la salsa, el dembow y el merengue, la que me gusta. Okay. Y la bachata de vez en cuando.
¿En dembow? ¿Cuál es tu artista favorita?
El Alfa.
El Alfa. ¿Argentino?
También me gusta. Bueno.
¿Cuál es tu sonido favorito en las calles?
El ruido que me gusta mucho en la calle son los carros deportivos, la bulla que hacen, el sonido que tienen.
¿Cuáles son tus músicas dominicanas favoritas?
Bueno, a mí me encanta la bachata, el merengue, la música típica también, que es de donde yo soy, del Cibao, como le decimos aquí.
¿Hay un tipo de merengue que tú prefieres?
Pudiera elegir el merengue tradicional.
¿Y qué piensas en el dembow?
El dembow, bueno, estamos en los tiempos modernos, como dicen por ahí. El dembow no es de mi agrado, a mí no me gusta, pero al que le gusta, yo respeto la decisión de cada quien.
¿Tienes un sonido, un ruido favorito que es típicamente dominicano?
¿Un ruido favorito? ¿En qué sentido?
Porque dicen que hay muchos sonidos fuera de la música.
Hay un exceso de vehículos, diríamos, casi a nivel mundial. Aquí más.
One thing that I believe to be very, very true is most people don't understand how significant a city Santo Domingo is. To go 4 miles at 8 a.m. in the morning could take 45 minutes to 60 minutes. There are a lot of cars, there are a lot of roads. All of the roads are full with all of the cars. I'll show you. I'm going to take you into this building where Spirit Coworking is right now. It's really nice, and I'll show you around. And then I do my 5th event in this city, and I have one more later today. I'll take you to those too. Yeah, this is a really nice space. I had not a desk, but I had one of those WeWork membership things where I could grab a desk in a few different places, or maybe everywhere, but I used to go to one particular place. That was after the pandemic, just because staying at home in a New York apartment, which is very small, was pretty stressful and tiring. WeWork was fine, but I have been to a bunch of other co-working spaces, and since the pandemic, the early days of the pandemic, everything feels like just not that nice, whereas this place is really, it's new, but it's really well designed and really well taken care of. As far as co-working porn goes, this place is the most porny. It's really nice. So I'll show you a little trick that has been quite useful. It's these subtitles, Zoom, $5 a month. I've done a lot of events in different countries, and often we have 2 translators, and I love translators at the back. They sit in a booth, they bring a lot of tools with them. For these events of say 80 to 100 people, it can easily cost around $1,500 to $2,000. You can see the subtitles behind me. They're a little bit delayed, but so is all translation. There are errors, but there's always errors in translation. It's kind of cool. Good. No, I'm just trying. I have to get like an American coffee.
Okay.
There's 3 big ones.
You want more?
Okay, thank you. Game time.
Bueno amigos, bienvenidos. Yo estoy muy feliz de recibirlos aquí a todos ustedes.
Right, I'm now going to take us a few miles north from where I am right now into a quiet neighborhood to talk to a musician, Jaar and Francheska, Rivera, about music and the sounds of this pretty incredible city and country. Vamos. I'm so fucking tired. It's okay. I'm finding the energy. So I've come to North Santo Domingo, or as we say in Spanish, Santo Domingo Norte.
Yeah, very good.
And I'm sitting with a man who's just invented a new genre. Now, recently I watched a documentary on YouTube about the Fania All-Stars who kind of created salsa. And next to me, I have Jaar, who created
Caribe pop.
What's up, man? So I start to merge these things, like the pop of the pop, universal pop, but the Latin, and I'm start to call it the Caribe pop.
Tú me quedas lindo, como café a la mañana, como tu aroma a mi cama, como el limón a mi ron. Tú me quedas lindo, como un sí aún para siempre, como moneda a mi suerte. Tú me quedas bien, tu amor me queda bien.
But would you play that with a full merengue band?
Yes, of course.
What is a typical full merengue band?
Yeah, I think the typical will be tambora. Will be the tambora, the main instrument. So we have guira, obviously, and then you have like bass. But instead of doing like acoustic piano, I use like a Rode, an electric piano. So it gives another vibe, a more poppy vibe.
I love it. All right. Well, you heard it here in English first.
Yes.
But what's interesting, like I mostly associate dembo with modern music from the Dominican Republic.
It's true.
Dembo is quite aggressive.
Yes.
It's quite angry.
Sí.
It's quite sexual.
Yes.
I have no idea what they're saying. But if I could dance, I would dance to it. And since I can't dance to it, I lift weights to it.
Yeah.
That's what gringos do. Your approach to music surprised me because it's quite light and happy.
Yes.
And my only reference to it was C. Tangana, the Spanish singer, who is a little bit similar but then goes quite reggaeton at times.
More like Urban.
So do you fit into the music scene here?
Honestly, I think sometimes I don't belong here, but I think that's the coolest thing because it makes me to think other genres, like to make this mix of all the things I like. My father used to say, every ballad can be a merengue. It's very weird because you're used to dance a pambiche, merengue. But in my concert, you can hear like the crowd singing a pop biche, and it's very weird because they say, I can't dance it, but I love it because I can sing it. It's very weird.
Okay, so we have merengue, and then there are different styles of merengue. One is Palm Beach or Pambiche, and then the other is Pop Beach.
The Pambiche comes from Palm Beach.
Yeah.
But we have.
Is there
merengue.
a Pop Beach?
No. We have Pambiche. We have merengue a lo derecho that we call like caballito. It sounds like the ride of the horse. El tacatucutum, catatucatacututum. We have merengue a lo maco. It's like less formal than the caballito. We have merengue de calle, mambo. And so what I like to do is to study with the humility of knowing that I don't know them very well, because we are used to, like, if you're gonna do a merengue, it's gonna be like the whole song is gonna be a lo maco. I love to do, the first verse to be a lo maco, but then the chorus, like, I want it to be very aggressive, so it's gonna be mambo. It's gonna be merengue de calle. And then it's gonna be a pambiche. I don't know. So
just on that, because most of the genres with my little exposure to Dominican music, they stay within the genre, whereas Brazil funk and K-pop, every verse and chorus could be a slightly different influence. So this is what you're playing.
Yes, I love that. I have this song. It's called La Bruja.
¿Cómo va a ser que mi novia es una bruja de esa que devoran hombre en la mitad de la noche? No, tú es una bruja de esa que devoran hombre en la mitad de la noche. No, tú
we did this. It was like we have the chorus, and so the first chorus, the first repetition, it was a lo maco, and then we go caballito, and then we go like pambiche on the bridge. The purist of merengue, they didn't like it, obviously. It was very interesting because like the young people love it because it was different. That's the thing that I'm looking for.
Reggaeton does that a little bit. Some of the artists will be within an obviously reggaeton genre, and then all of a sudden the song becomes a little bit house.
Yes.
For example.
It's a tendency right now.
Yeah.
This reggaeton that goes out of the del café con pan. We call it café con pan, pacum pan pan. I think that it's going something interesting in the reggaeton, and I think that that's the thing that we must learn about the reggaeton as Latins, to start to push our genres like the merengue. So I think that that's the future of the Latin music, and it's happening in other countries.
And then you mentioned that Palm Beach merengue is slower than normal merengue. Why is that?
We had in Dominican Republic 2 American interventions. So when they wanted to learn how to dance merengue, the merengue was very fast for them. They invented like a slower version of the merengue. That's the reason why the Palm Beach it's slower. It's my favorite because I love that you can like taste it better.
Yeah.
You can like hear all the instruments. You can sing it.
Yeah. I'm no Palm Beach expert here, but I've heard a few different merengue songs, and the ones that I liked the most were Palm Beach.
Okay.
Maybe it's just gringos. It's just DNA or something. We're just born liking Palm Beach merengue, but we just don't know about it until we come to the Dominican Republic. One thing that has really amazed me is the inventiveness of the Dominican culture in a way that I was completely naive to.
Okay.
So even from a sound point of view, the crazy inventiveness that happens with quetipo, with speakers in cars, and speakers coming out of coolers.
Yeah,
it's crazy, right?
Crazy.
Bachata, merengue, dembo. It's a smallish country. Why do you think it's so inventive with music?
I don't know. I think that it's like a Latin issue. I think that it happens the same, for example, in Mexico. Like you have corridos, quebradillas. Now with Peso Pluma, they have this weird thing that it's like a corrido trap.
Corrido trap is somewhat like drill, in which you're supposed to rap and sing about bad things you have done or bad things that people you know have done.
Yes.
And in Mexico, you need to get permission from the local bosses to be able to record one of these, right?
Yes.
Does any of this exist in the Dominican Republic?
I think it happens with the dembow. I don't know because I don't do dembow, but you can hear it in the lyrics of the dembow. It must. I don't know. I think it must.
So I don't talk about this too often, but I used to publish a hip hop magazine and do hip hop radio. I got out of it before all the drill stuff started to happen in Australia. That stuff got crazy violent. People were getting killed, stabbed. They were rapping about it. It's weird because a lot of these people have a lot of positive energy that can be put into music. I feel for like young men that believe that they have to go hurt people to then be able to make a song. It's rough. It's rough. Can you explain what dembo is to somebody who doesn't know what dembo is?
It's like a mutation of the reggaeton that every year goes faster and goes faster and faster, more raw.
Tell me why, because I've heard theories.
I think that a few years, like 2015 or something, it was very creative. Awesome lyrics. The arrangement was very good. So now got quicker. It has less words, less substance, how I say it. It's focused in the dancing, in the groove, less than in the lyrics. Me as the songwriter, I don't like it that because I like to hear what is the discourse of the artist, no? And for instance, my next album that I'm going to start recording in this summer, it's all the titles of the song are phrases or words of the Dominican Republic. And so I have this song that is called Dando Aco.
A todo el mundo lo tengo cansado bien harto. Hasta las musas no quieren saber más de ti. Cada verso que escribo rima contigo. Mi razón de vivir es vivir para ti. Hey, aquí me ves rendido a tus pies. Soy tu adicto fiel. Y tú mi perdición. Llévame contigo a donde vaya. Que ando dando asco por tu amor. Se me desveló la madrugada. Por andar pensando en ti, amor.
That's like Dando Aco, so it's faster. You can sense like the difference between the three.
I saw your eyes.
Yeah, and it's very hyped. So I like to do that stuff. It's like the rhythm, it's very hype. You can dance it, but the lyric, it's like another thing. It's like dissociated of thing. It's very nostalgic.
So not only is Dominican Republic known for music, but it's also just known for noises here.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite Dominican
noises?
I have a favorite one. It's the guaguita platanera. I love that noise. You have heard it? It sounds like this.
Compramos todo lo que sea viejo, compramos mujeres viejas, compramos...
I start to sample noises from the Dominican Republic. So I got that noise, I take it to my MIDI, so I start to create patterns with that. Yeah. And that's my favorite, like the guaguita platanera, it's my favorite noise.
What do you want to happen with your music career? You currently work another job, but what do you want to happen with your music career?
We don't have a lot of young artists like working with our culture. So I wanted to be part of the fewest that are doing it. So that's my dream. Live it and do music, live from it, but also to be Dominican music that everybody can enjoy.
Awesome, love it, man. All right, I'm now with Francheska, who's worked in and around the music industry for a while. How would you describe, generally speaking, the current state of the music industry in the Dominican Republic?
I think it's booming. I think we are not fully aware as Dominicans of how much impact have we had in the current music that topped the charts, and all the influence of our slang, of our melodies, of our sounds, and how international our rhythms have become. And I think we need to appropriate that and to be proud of it, because sometimes you try to sound like somebody else, and everybody else is trying to sound like us.
What has happened in the past few years for this boom to happen?
The rise of independent artists, YouTube, the streaming culture, platforms like Tiny Desk that over the pandemic, they just bloomed, a college show, one-bedroom apartment project, all those platforms where a random artist can show their talent, created kind of a trend where, like in the Dominican Republic, in Puerto Rico, in smaller countries, musicians start to be content creators and advocate for their art. You have more access to them. And also you have people like El Alfa that made Dembow an international sound. And you can see people like connecting the dots. Oh, this is Dominican, so this is how it sounds, so this is where it comes from.
Right. So it's a little bit from sampling and maybe some guest spots on some songs, and then it grows from there.
Featuring, using them in movie and film and TV shows also.
Quick story. The night that I fell in love with Brazil Funk, which is from a different country, I was standing next to a guy called MC Bin Laden, who's correctly changed his name to MC Bin. He's so famous, just after I met him, I didn't meet him, I was next to him. He was on Big Brother. I think he might have even won it in Brazil, so I understand this trend that you're talking about, but I also wanted to give a shout out to Brazil Funk. Shout out to Brazil Funk.
Great.
Yeah, I find Brazil Funk so sonically like, what the fuck? It reminds me of hardcore techno from 1993, Dutch, German stuff, mixed with hip-hop and rap, obviously over a particular African beat.
Yep.
And then Zelda?
Yeah.
Just weird stuff.
It's made to dance.
Yeah.
Because for Brazilians, dancing is a form of revolution, and for me, that's absolutely beautiful. It's super inspiring.
So why do you think there has been so much innovation in music in this country?
Because I think we are not afraid. Generally speaking, because everybody has their own journey, but I think that Dominican musicians are bold and they are striving for excellence. And if it's not that, it's that's their only way of expression and their life depends on it. So either way you're gonna turn, you're gonna get the maximized version of whatever it is that they're doing, or they're trying to make it, so they're trying their best to get people to hear them out. And I think that's from problem solving is where creativity comes from. And from trying to make it is where we start to explore and expand and see things like we're looking at now, where we see merengue being portrayed in a Netflix reality TV show. It's like, how this happened is just because we're not afraid to pitch it, to do it, to show it.
I heard Dembow, I think in a McDonald's ad today, and I think we can do better. Because again, I saw all of this through the underground and independent hip hop scene that I was around from the mid 1990s into the 2000s. The way that corporations come in and try to pick some talent, see how corporate friendly they can possibly make them, often not paying them very well or at all. People are a bit smarter now. So it's interesting to see that 25 to 30 years later with some of these other new genres. how hard is it for someone in, say, the dembo genre to actually make money from what they do?
It's a mixed answer, because if you listen to advertising in the radio, like for a day, probably 70% of the radio advertising you're gonna listen are either inspired or sampling a dembow or reggaeton track, because they know that's what people is going to react to. The thing is, like you said, there's always going to be a smarter businessman behind the scenes that's trying to make it, the best out of the buck. But there's also people that instead of trying to get the most out of it, they collab. And we have big exponents like El Mayor, who a couple of years ago created a big campaign for Pepsi with his song, and it worked. And they brought in J Balvin, and they did this massive platform for the whole Caribbean region because it worked.
Yeah. And are there certain countries that the Dominican Republic is more connected to through music?
Oh, that's a tricky question. I think that culturally we're really close to Puerto Rico because we can relate even in the history of a lot of our genres, and I think our genres kind of ping pong because you start from a place, it gets enriched by certain groups and it comes back. It's like salsa in New York. You had this Puerto Rican and Dominican musicians, but you also had this jazzy vibe from New York and the brasses and the whole scene that made what salsa is today. I think that those are like our siblings in terms of melody, music, and how we approach, how we storytell. But at the same time, I think that, for example, Colombia loves merengue. I was surprised when I first went to Colombia in Cartagena. I got in a taxi and heard a lot of merengue written by Dominicans, sang by Dominicans. And when I asked the taxi drivers, they said, we love them here. I love when they come. And it was like, wow, like we actually are more connected than we thought. Mm-hmm. And when you hear other Colombian genres, you can see similarities. You can feel melodic things that are familiar to you and that make you feel like warm inside. So you feel, oh, this is something that is more than just our country. It's an original thing.
Yeah. What are the main genres that you listen to? The main Dominican genres that you listen to?
Well, I actually like merengue. I love a lot of the alternative urban artists that we have. We have a lot of young people doing R&B in Spanish that are great. We also have a lot of Afro infusion, but it's not Afrobeat. It's almost like there's this merge of pop and R&B, but these percussions that are really African, that are really cool to hear. And also we have people like Vicente, Richie Oriach, La Marimba, that they're just reviving really old rhythms. They make it interesting for younger people to listen to, and it makes it exciting. And I get excited, and I feel like I'm gonna be able to tell my kids, oh, that rhythm is 100 years old. This is a different way to listen to it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty, really cool.
The Dominican Republic is known as being a very loud place to itself.
It is.
What's your theory?
I think we are loud as people. And I mean, we are all together. So the city is going to be loud because I think that you can go anywhere and you can spot a group of Dominicans because of how loud they're being. We speak loudly, we are intense, we talk fast, we like loud music, we like loud colors. We are loud people in general, so it's only natural that our main city is super noisy. But I think it's not as noisy as people think, because there's a lot of the sounds that I relate to my city or my neighborhood that I terribly miss when I'm out of the country, because it makes it feel like home.
Like what?
Well, for example, the Guaguita Platanera, or the ones that take the old iron, Hierro Viejo, and they're looking at Hierro Viejo, me llevo todo lo viejo, todo lo que sea viejo. It's like iconic. But also, there's a really cool phenomenon here that is, maybe for me it's cool. We have a lot of big churches, especially in the most crowded neighborhoods, where they're not afraid to be loud because they're praising the Lord. So it's almost like you're used to going through those streets in a certain hour and you can hear a big group of people just preaching. But it's really beautiful because you feel like instead of just hearing car honks, I'm listening to somebody like singing or preaching or praying, and it's really beautiful because you can find people in the street with plastic chairs, and that's a church.
Yeah. So one thing that I think a lot of people don't know is how much of a city Santo Domingo is. It's fucking packed. It's intense. And there's money and there's poverty. To what degree do you think the pressure of the city has played a role in the recent music?
Actually, I think that it's like a circular situation because I think that the growth of the city has made music richer, but also music helps tell the story of how diverse and rich our city is. I can assure you that if you go out for a full week, you're gonna be able to watch a live performance of all the main genres without even being a big concert. You're gonna find a jazz band, you're gonna find a cover band, you're gonna find places where you can go dance and listen to live music. For me, that's part of what makes us us. And it's part of what the city is bustling because even when you don't have nothing to do, you're gonna find something culturally relevant. And theater, musical theater, and people dancing and whatnot. And I think that's part of that whole kind of wheel that's been turning, and that's what makes it grow so fast.
Right. What I love about my time in Santo Domingo is how stupid I felt. I'm like, I didn't know that this city was so big. I didn't know there was so much creativity here. But it makes me feel stupid in a way where I'm desperate to learn more. It's just like it. I smile. It amazes me.
There's a lot of good writing too here. People sleep a lot on our writers, and there's good poetry. There's good drama writing. Poetry is absolutely great, and people they sleep on it. They don't know that we have this big, and we have a lot of kid book authors that are really good and really relevant. People don't realize they're Dominican until they see the back of the book and they know they're Dominican.
I love it. It's amazing.